Okay, good afternoon, students. So today the topic of discussion is anemia. Okay, so we are starting off with the right topic. Now, what is anemia? Before you know what is anemia, you should know what is hemoglobin, right? So this is the size of an RBC. What is the size? It is around 2 microns. Okay, and it is usually discoid in shape. Okay, this is both the cross-section view and the normal view. Okay, so what does an RBC contain? It has it is basically hemoglobin, right? Heme and globin. Okay, so you have two alpha chains. Globin is, heme is nothing but iron, and then globin is two alpha chains and two beta chains. Okay, so you have iron. Along with iron you'll have alpha and beta chain. Okay, two alpha and two beta chains. So that's when it's called as a hemoglobin. Okay, so what is anemia? Basically it is nothing but a reduction in the hemoglobin concentration. How? Below the level what is expected, okay, for a healthy individual of the same age and of the same gender, okay, in a similar surroundings. So what are the things that determine anemia? One is hemoglobin level, which is expressed in grams per deciliter. Then you have hematocrit value, okay, that is expressed in percentage. Then you have RBC count, which is taken as millimeter cube. Okay, so these three things will give you a rough idea on the hemoglobin, on the anemia of a patient. Now, according to WHO, according to World Health Organization, they have set a criteria for labeling a person as anemic. Okay, when the hemoglobin level is low, it is called as anemia. When the hemoglobin level is high, they are called as polycythemia. Okay, so in adult males, it is normal range is between 13 grams per deciliter. Okay, anything less than 13 grams, you can label them as anemia. Okay, and for females it is 12 grams. This is according to WHO standards. Okay, but for Indian standards the cutoff is even low. Okay, so if you label for females, the cutoff is 10. Okay, and for males the cutoff is 11. Okay, now how will you grade anemia? It is graded as mild, moderate and severe. What is mild? Mild is when the hemoglobin level is between 9.1 and 10.5 gram per deciliter. Moderate is between 6 and 9, and anything less than 6 you label it as severe form of anemia. Okay, so this is the normal RBCs, and here you can see on the right hand side you can see when the you can see the distribution of RBCs. See, it is sparsely distributed. Here you can see it is packed. Okay, this is the left hand side is the normal one, and this is the abnormal. That means when a patient is having a reduced hemoglobin count. Now, how will you classify anemia? Anemia can be classified according to morphological classification, that is according to how they appear. Then you have etiological classification. Okay, that is what is the cause for anemia. So first we'll go to morphological classification. So first it is depending on the color of the RBCs. That's why it is chromic. Okay, so depending on the color you have two classifications. One is normochromic or hypochromic. Hypo, normo is the normal color, hypo is reduced in color. Okay, so there is nothing called as hyperchromic. There are only two entities here. The next one is depending on the RBC size. Okay, so depending on the RBC size you can label it as normocytic, microcytic and macrocytic. Normocytic is when the mean corpuscular volume, that is when the MCV is between the normal limits, that is between 80 to 100. Okay, it is called as microcytic when the MCV is less than 80. Okay, mean corpuscular volume. Then macrocytic when the mean corpuscular volume is more than 100. Then again you can morphologically classify as normocytic normochromic, microcytic hypochromic, and macrocytic normochromic. Okay, these are the three morphological classifications. This is very, very important for you, both theory wise and for your practical life. This you should carry it throughout your practice. Okay, so this is how you morphologically classify. Then etiological classification. Etiological classification, it has broad classification three. One is decreased production of RBCs, increased destruction of RBCs, and blood loss. Okay, so these are the three main entities for etiologic. Either there is reduced production, or there is increased destruction, or these both are normal but the patient is having blood loss. Okay, he is losing blood somewhere. So let's go to the etiological classification. So first is impaired red cell production, that is there is reduced production. Okay, so what are the causes for reduced production? And second one is increased destruction. Increased RBCs are getting destroyed, that is called as hemolytic anemias, when the RBC is getting destroyed. Okay, then the third one is blood loss. Now let's see what are the causes for individual ones. Okay, so when will you get an increased red cell destruction? That is seen when there is disturbed and maturation, proliferation of erythroblasts. So when there is a disturbance in the maturation or the proliferation or the of erythroblast, you will have a reduced red cell production. Okay, or marrow, bone marrow is being replaced by other cells. It can be a fat cells, it can be other malignant cells, it can be anything. So what happens, the RBCs are getting RBC production will reduce. Okay, then marrow is being infiltrated. Okay, the bone marrow can get infiltrated by other cells like malignant cells, okay, or some other precursor cells. Okay, then the last one is disturbed proliferation and differentiation. Okay, so there is a difference in the proliferation, that is in the multiplication, okay, and differentiation, that is from the, if you remember my first class, the hematopoiesis, if you remember that, okay, you remember, right, it starts from these hematopoietic stem cells, right? So that differentiation, when it differentiates into a normal RBC, that is your differentiation. Okay, that is your how it develops into a normal RBC, that is differentiation. So any disturbance anywhere can cause a impaired red cell production. Okay, then the next entity is hemolytic anemias. Okay, so what are the causes for hemolytic anemia? You can have intrinsic abnormalities. You will study all these things in detail. This is just a classification. Okay, so intrinsic abnormalities is one of the cause, or you can have extrinsic abnormalities. Okay, or you can have these are the two entities for hemolytic anemia. Then for blood loss, it can be acute blood loss or it can be chronic blood loss. Acute blood loss is massive when you have a massive traffic accident or any form of bleeding internally. Okay, chronic blood loss is when the patient is bleeding chronically. He is not knowing. There can be bleeding piles, or there can be bleeding hemorrhoids, that is bleeding hemorrhoids. Okay, or the patient can have a chronic bleeding PR itself, which the patient is not noticing. So these are the different causes for blood loss. Okay, so generally I'll just show you some pictures. Okay, so first we'll talk about microcytic hypochromic anemia. Okay, microcytic, as the name implies, microcytic hypochromic. So cells, RBCs are small, okay, and they are hypochromic. So that means the normal chrome is reduced. Okay, so what is the normal chrome? Ideally it is 1/3 the size of an RBC. So when there is a reduction there, it is called as hypochromic. So microcytic hypochromic. Okay, then this is another picture. Again you can see there is the cells are small. If you can notice, the cells are small. These are small cells. There are different size and shape of the cell. Okay, these are all small cells. And if you notice the color. Okay, normally the central pallor is 1/3 the size of an RBC. Okay, so what happens when in hypochromia, again the chrome is reduced, so it will increase beyond that 1/3 size of RBC. Okay, this is again a high power. Now this is very important for you. You should know what are the causes for microcytic hypochromic anemia, macrocytic anemia, normocytic normochromic anemia. These three things are very, very important for you. Okay, now I'll tell you some at least 4 causes. You should know them. Okay, what are the causes for microcytic hypochromic anemia? One is iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, sideroblastic anemia, and anemia of chronic disorders. Okay, so these are the most 4 important causes for microcytic hypochromic anemia. Once more, iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, sideroblastic anemia, and anemia of chronic disorders. Okay, then next entity is normocytic and normochromic. That means patient is still having anemia, but the cell is of normal size and normal chrome. Okay, so what are the causes for that? You have post hemorrhagic anemia, okay, immediately after a bleeding disorder, or anemia of chronic diseases, any form of chronic disease. It can be anemia of liver disease, anemia of renal disorders, okay, or anemia with impaired marrow response. There is some defect in the marrow, or in cases of myelodysplastic syndromes. All these things you will learn later. Okay, but you should know what are the causes of microcytic hypochromic anemia, normocytic normochromic, and macrocytic anemia. Okay, so normocytic normochromic is usually the cause of, usually due to chronic disorders in the form of liver diseases or in the form of renal disorders. Okay, any form of chronic disease. Next one is macrocytic. If you can appreciate, look at the RBCs. The RBCs are big, huge RBCs. Okay, while compared to the normal RBC, this could be a normal RBC, but it is still all these are macrocytic RBCs. Look at the RBCs are big, huge RBCs. Okay, so you should know what are the, you don't label it as macrocytic hyperchromic, it is just macrocytic anemia. Okay, macrocytic RBCs. Right, now what are the causes for macrocytic anemia? Most important causes are megaloblastic anemia, liver diseases, alcoholism, hypothyroidism. Okay, hypothyroidism, then pregnancy and MDS, myelodysplastic syndromes. Okay, so these are the causes for macrocytic normochromic anemia. You don't label it as hyperchromic. Okay, just remember that. Now, what are the general symptoms of anemia? How you can start from head to toe. So with the CNS, usually starting with CNS symptoms. Patient can have easy fatigability, okay, fainting, dizziness. Then coming to the blood vessels, patient will have low BP. Heart, what are the heart manifestations patient will have? Because of reduced output, patient can have palpitations, okay, and rapid heart rate. The heart is trying to compensate for the so that it will pump more and it will reach, it can supply blood to the peripheries. Okay, so there you will have angina, heart attack, pain, chest pain, etc. Okay, spleen, you can have splenic enlargement, that is splenomegaly could be there. Okay, if the patient is having hemolytic anemia, hemolytic is the cause, the patient will have icterus, yellow jaundice. Okay, and the same skin can also show that yellowness. Okay, if the patient is having severe anemia, the patient can turn pale. Okay, they can have respiratory symptoms are shortness of breath, muscles can go weak. Okay, intestine, if the patient is having bleeding intestine, there will be a change in the color of the stools. So all these are general symptoms of anemia, right? Now with the history, from the history you can get an overview of how the patient is. Okay, what is the onset of this discomfort or onset of any manifestations a patient is having. A patient is having any family history. What is the occupation? Certain occupations are related with anemia. If the patient is having burning sensation of the tongue, which is most common in megaloblastic anemia. Okay, if the patient is having any change in the stool habits, any color change in the stool, Okay, menstrual history and dietary history is very important, because certain form of anemia, certain types of anemia is common in vegetarians. For example, megaloblastic anemia, it is common in vegetarians. Okay, so if the patient is a strict vegetarian, they can develop anemia. Any fever, any bruise, any abnormal color in the urine, if the patient is having hemolytic anemia, patient can go in for have an abnormal color in the urine. Okay, paresthesia and pain in the limbs, all this is related to megaloblastic anemia. Okay, all this. Okay. So from the history itself, you will get an idea whether the patient can have anemia. Okay, what all physical examination, you will definitely start with pallor. Okay, that is one. Then you have icterus. If the patient is having yellow discoloration, the patient will have icterus. Any tenderness, sternal tenderness, any lymph node enlargement, liver, hepatomegaly, splenomegaly. Okay, then murmurs. When the cardiac output increases, the patient when the patient is having palpitations, they can have murmurs also. Okay, pelvic and rectal examination, all these things will help in the diagnosis. Okay, so here we finish the general or the overview of anemias, and your next classes will be pertaining to different diseases. Okay, thank you.